Where we are, but also thanks to the Edney and Andrew Rogers in particular. I know that we have a screen, so I know you guys can see me over there. So it's fine if you want to stay on that side of the room. It's cool. If I were you, I might do it too. So anyway, thanks to all of you for coming out tonight. Welcome to CO.LAB's first demo night. Okay, who in this audience has been to CO.LAB Demo Day in the past? So many of you, great. So this is a bit of a departure from the way that we've done Demo Day in the past. Typically, we will have our gig tank companies come to Chattanooga for the summer, and they'll spend 2.5 months here working on companies, and then they'll pitch them to an audience of investors and local startup enthusiasts and media. But we thought this year that we might do things just a little bit differently. Gig Tank isn't the only program that we run at CO.LAB, and while it's really incredible and something that we're really proud of, this last year we decided to launch it into a year-round program. This means that opportunities related to developing applications around gigabit internet are available all year long, and we're really proud of that. But at the same time, there's this other program we do called the CO.LAB Accelerator that also runs all year long. And we actually use a lot of the same resources. We use the same mentors. We work with a lot of the same partners on making resources available to companies that want to scale out into the larger marketplace. And so we decided this year we were going to take our demo day and retool it so that we could showcase the top companies that have gone through all of our programs over the last year. So this is a chance to meet some of the companies that have gone through Gig Tank, but also some of the companies that have gone through the CO.LAB Accelerator. And I know over the last couple of minutes, you guys have been moseying around, and you might have seen a couple of our top entrepreneurs that went through the Co-Starters program. I think this is one of the most under-discussed programs we offer at CO.LAB, but it's for people who have a business idea and they're not 100% sure what to do with it, or maybe they need help working through their business model. There have been countless businesses created and jobs created as a result of the Co-Starters program, and so we wanted to take the opportunity that we have, that is Demo Day, to showcase small businesses, and then also tech startups that are working to scale into larger marketplaces. So thank you so much for joining us tonight and taking time to talk to our co-starters, entrepreneurs over there. If you haven't yet, I encourage you to go over and meet the people with Ascent Bar, Chattanooga Cycle Boats, Fox and Lamb, Shake & Co., and Weekly Fig. This is a chance for you to learn about cool local products and services that are available right now. These people are in business, and we would love for you to support local business here in Chattanooga. So these are just a few of the companies that have gone through our programs. Over the last year, we've had more than 80 founders in our programs alone. Yeah. I know, it's wild to think about because that doesn't even count our events. That's not Will This Float. That's not 48-hour launch. That's not gig hacks or the things that we do on the side. These are just our basic programs at CO.LAB. And there are that many people that are working in our community to start businesses because they really care about what they're doing and they think they have opportunities here. And we know that they do. So we encourage all of you to support them. And after this event, please go talk to these guys. They're just a few. There are many more, and you can learn about them on our website. But we're really proud of who they are. And a lot of this night is about, some of the real outstanding stars in a lot of our programs. And again, it's not just Gig Tank. It's also our CO.LAB Accelerator, and you're going to hear from them in just a minute. So when this event is over, I would like to invite all of you to join us over in the 3rd floor Commons at the Coyote Logistics Building inside Warehouse Row. This is going to be your chance to hear final remarks from Mike Bradshaw, our outgoing executive director, who we love so dearly. So dearly. Yes. World's sweetest man and sharpest mentor. So we really feel like, we're a family here, and it's totally family night here at CO.LAB, but we also want to make sure that people know that at this alumni party, new people are welcome as well. We would love to take this as a chance to talk about, how we've moved through the entrepreneurial journey together, but also how we can bring new people into the fold. So that's equally as important. So make sure if you're coming over and you have friends that are like, I'm not sure if this event's for me, let them know that it totally is. This is open to everybody. We're also going to get a chance to hear from Jack Studer, who is our incoming executive director. He is going to guide us through a strategic planning process over the next 6 months, and we're really lucky to have him. So yeah, we're looking forward to the rest of the night. I'm going to give you details about how to get there and what's going to happen after we go through our pitches tonight. But before we jump into tonight's event, I do want to take a moment to celebrate our sponsors who make events like this and the programs that we do possible. We have the Benwood Foundation, Launch Tennessee, Lyndhurst Foundation, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, Chambliss Startup Group, EPB Fiber Optics, Henderson, Hutcherson and McCullough, Miller and Martin, Elliott Davis DeCosimo, Lamppost Group, Nova Copy, Smart Furniture, and our newest sponsor, Volkswagen Group of America. Volkswagen's not on the slide just yet because this just happened very recently, but we feel like totally fortunate that they have joined us and they support the things that we do. So thank you so much. And now, without further ado, I would love to invite Mike Bradshaw up to the stage to talk about the companies we've worked with over the last year and why we think they're important to Chattanooga's entrepreneurial ecosystem.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Bradshaw. I'm Executive Director of the company lab, Outgoing. I think that may happen. He's back. He rules. All right, in case you didn't hear any of that other stuff, this is a pretty heavy moment for me, right? This is the last time that I'll be in front of you speaking at a demo day. This is our 5th one, and it's a culmination of a vision that goes back several years. And really, what being able to do this shows is that this team at CO.LAB is extraordinary. Using the same budget that we had when we first started in 2011, we're able to do 10 times the stuff we used to do. We have so much support from the community. We've built some great partnerships. Tia mentioned our sponsors. All of this community help has allowed us, with the same resources, to produce so much more. And that's something that, see, you're all deputized as alumni of CO.LAB, so we want you to come over to see us at Miller Plaza at Warehouse Row, so we can talk a little bit about what this ecosystem means, how we understand it. The great thing about tonight is, and I'm so glad to have so many of you here, such great friends, is that we were able to grow these startups inside of Chattanooga. 5 years ago, would have never happened that we'd have these great teams that developed right here in town. And there was the credit to the ecosystem. I'm so proud of all of you for allowing this to happen. So what we've done, we rebranded Gig Tank as Gig Tank 365 last year. But we knew it was just going to be an interim sort of designation to say that we've got enough action now and enough going on here that we can run 3 cohorts a year. And we can call them all Gig Tank. And then we recognized we can do that ourselves. We don't need to have people come from out of town. Although it's great. We'd love to have guests from out of town because they go back and they spread the word and causes more to come. That's a great thing. But we didn't need the housing anymore that UTC so generously provides us, right? People live here and they're building these companies. So why not do it when all the resources that support the Gig Tank program are right here all year round, and more are coming every day, more researchers, more experts, more people looking at our gigabit network. It's great. And then there are so many people attracted by the vibe of this place that we just needed to keep this thing running. And we had our accelerator program. I was honored to be the entrepreneur in residence of that program back in 2012 after mentoring in the very first Gig Tank. And I know Tony Jamile's around here somewhere, the winner of the very first Gig Tank, and I had the pleasure of mentoring him. But, we've come so far over these years. And, you look at the accelerator programs, you look at co-starters, and you look, what's the foundation of all of this? The foundation is somebody that's got an idea and is willing to do the work to make it real, right? You honor that. I don't care about the idea. I don't care if you've got it all figured out. I just want you to be willing to work, willing to do it yourself, willing to gather the resources that your vision says you require. It's an enormously awesome task that people set for themselves when they walk in the door, and you take every single person that walks in. It doesn't matter where they're from, what they look like, how much money they have, and you treat them all with the same dignity and respect that they deserve. That has been, I think, the biggest part of our success here. So, before I start bawling, I'm going to invite you over tonight to have a nice little party with us over in Warehouse Row. When we leave here, we'll find you over, but I hope everybody in this room comes and join us. Now, I have the particular honor of inviting my good friend Charlie Brock up to the stage. He's CEO of Launch Tennessee. He's the man whose shoes I've tried for 4 years to fill.
Thank you. Stay up here if you will just for a second. Obviously, he did a great job in getting me out of the way, and then he could really help lead CO.LAB to incredible heights. I just got to say, Mike, it's been incredible. From when we first met, when that first Gig Tank was starting in early 2012, and your work with Tony and group, and us work together, and then continuing to work together. We're so lucky, obviously, in Chattanooga and really across the state, that it really is a collaborative effort. Entrepreneurial spirit that pervades Chattanooga and all us around the state, and saying, how do we help each other, is extraordinary. But it takes individuals being willing to do that. Nobody is higher in that regard and willing to help and willing to put in the extra hours and nights and weekends, which is what this job takes, than Mike Bradshaw and all the team here. But I also got to say, it is a partnership. And I know that because my wife Lisa has put up with an awful lot of that for me the last 6 years at CO.LAB at Launch Tennessee. And Mike Bradshaw's partner, Mara, let's give her a hand as well. Yeah. I have never been at an event here, or rarely been at an event here at CO.LAB or anywhere else that Mara is not here, and usually taking pictures as well, which sometimes too many, but usually it's all good. So Mike and Mara, y'all have been a team, an awesome team in this community, and these entrepreneurs and everybody really across the state and others who've come in from outside the state to participate in what you've been doing, have been the beneficiaries of that. So thank you both very, very much. So one more round of applause for them. Thank you. So what I'm getting ready to announce something about an event, but it really pales in comparison to what we were just talking about, and thanking Mike and Mara. But I will say, it is a collaborative effort, and we do a lot of work across the state to support each other. We actually have an event that many of you have been to, thank you, called 3686, which is in Nashville, and it's now the largest entrepreneur conference in the Southeast. And we had over 100 different investment firms there this past year, including some of you who are here tonight. And we have a flash sale going on right now. The conference is not till June 5th and 6th next year. But we have a 1-week flash sale right now that ends tomorrow night. So if you will pull out your phones and go to 3686south.com, you can buy a ticket at the lowest price that will be out there at any time. So it's $249 for a general admission ticket, $349 for a VIP ticket, which is a new thing that gets you into a special Sunday night thing we're doing, and a Tuesday night closing party, which we hadn't figured out the venue yet, but last year was at John Rich's house of Big and Rich fame. So it's a great fun time, great way. We've had Chattanooga startups that have won. Shelley Prevost and her company Torch walked away with the $50,000 grand prize this past year. George, you, and Variable were the winners the very first year, so it's a great event. We hope you will come. And with that, I'm going to turn to Tia and all the good companies we're getting to hear from tonight. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Charlie. All right, so now we are moving into the pitch portion of the evening. And first up, I would like to welcome James Cowan, and he's with Docity Health. Let's give him a round of applause.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah. I've been instructed to stay to this side of the screen, so I'll do that. My name is James Cowan, and I'm the founder of Docity Health. Docity is a connected health platform that connects providers with their patients and patients with their health through on-demand telemedicine or telehealth. Now, if you don't know what that means, I hope the screen sort of demonstrates it. When we talk about telemedicine and telehealth, we're talking about the ability to connect face-to-face through a secure environment, through your smartphone, tablet, or computer with a doctor. We've been trying to solve a pretty simple question. Why is it that I can order a pizza with an emoji or a black car by pushing a button to take me to Subway, but when I'm sick, I've got to beg for an appointment, maybe wait a few weeks, skip a day of work, and then hang out in a waiting room with my kids as they move a bead along a wire, and I read the 1998 issue of Red Book. Surely we can do better. You know, my wife and I moved here from Michigan, Flint, Michigan to be exact, just a few years ago. And when we moved, we faced a lot of different struggles. And so when I decided to start this company officially in February of this year and came to CO.LAB and ultimately the Gig Tank, we wanted to design something that would work for everybody. And so here's what we did. 3 modules within our software allow you to connect immediately to be triaged and then ultimately, if necessary, connected to a doctor. The second module will allow you to schedule an appointment. Right now, that just allows you to schedule one of the providers who has agreed to take our calls from our members through their smartphone. And the third module is an Ask a Question function. Now, this function is actually an encrypted communication module that allows you to ask a question about your health inside the application, to which we can respond to your personal email outside of the application, with the entire conversation remaining encrypted and HIPAA compliant. And I'm happy to announce that not only is our software HIPAA compliant, but we are now officially SureScript certified. What that means is that our doctors, when they connect with you, can prescribe your medication and send it to the pharmacy of your choice. Now, this program is going to go live on a direct-to-consumer basis on January 1st, but we're already offering it to clinics around the country. In fact, we're in 18 locations in 6 states. And we've not just been dropping off software and running, we've been literally implementing their program, taking calls, building websites, performing scheduling, integrating with their front desk, and even making sure that the patients connect face-to-face at the time of their appointment. So we've found out what it takes, not just to launch telehealth, but to get it used. And we think that's important. Now, yes, there's investors in the room, so I will tell you this is a huge market. Consumer-directed health services is $235 billion, of which we're looking to address the low and moderate acuity side, which is approximately $40 billion. We already know that we can go deeper because we're in clinics that do things like allergy, OBGYN, physical therapy, direct primary care. But really what I want to talk to you about is this important question of what truth do we believe at Docity that very few people agree on or very few people know about. Since leaving the Marine Corps in 2009, I've worked with utility companies. In fact, I ran some of the first programs for connected home and smart thermostat with Nest in Michigan for utilities like Consumers Energy and DTE. And so we figured out what it takes to get in a home. In 1 year, we performed 20,000 in-home energy audits. Now, I know that the internet allows me to do a lot of things in your house, but so far, what we've been able to figure out as a society is, what can we use the gig for? Let's order a pizza with an emoji. We think we can do better, and fundamentally, we believe that we can transform healthcare by making healthcare a utility. Just like flipping a switch, just like ordering that pizza, you should have on-demand access to a doctor. Now, we can't fix a broken bone. We can't deliver a baby, but we can take care of a sinus infection. We can help a mom who's struggling late at night. We can keep somebody from going to the emergency room and incurring thousands of dollars of debt that puts them on the brink of bankruptcy. And this is important to me because I grew up in a trailer park just outside of Flint. And since leaving the Marine Corps, my wife and my family, which includes 4 children, have gone from making lots of money to not making much money, to having insurance, to not having insurance, from having a provider to moving to Tennessee and switching a provider. We've literally experienced it all. We have even had to make decisions about our children's health based on money. Audacity can't solve the world's problems, and we're not here to cure cancer. But we think we can put a dent in it. Because if we can electrify every home in a country, if we can put internet in every house, and if we can do that around the world, we can connect you with a provider when you need it. My name is James Cowan, and we're Docity Health. We invite you to come and visit us, because the patient will see you now.
Awesome, thanks, James. All right, next up, we have Daniel Lovelace from UT Chatsat. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you, Tia. Before I begin, I actually want to send my gratitude to CO.LAB. I appreciate the opportunity to come back for demo night. We are a graduate of the Gig Tank 365 this past summer. UT Chatsat is a portion of a research group that I founded at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga a couple of years ago. Our fundamental research mission is to address some of the most pressing challenges faced by the use of our electronic systems in space. And we design robust electronic systems that can operate reliably out of the comfort of our atmosphere and magnetic fields provided by our Earth. This is an example of a satellite system launched on that rocket. It's called an Atlas V a few years ago. This was a part of an experiment that I did with Vanderbilt University. We were putting these into orbit. They're small satellites. They can literally fit in the palm of your hand to do real science and real intelligence, have a big implication for smart city development. But there's a problem. There's a fundamental disconnect with what we can achieve with technology and what our students are learning. So UT Chatsat has an education mission, and it's to transform the way our students are learning about space and science technology by literally putting this space technology into the palm of their hand. So I'm a professor, so I'm going to give you a 30-second history lesson. So back in 1969, we're a few years after the invention of a transistor, and it's going to production. That transistor was roughly about 10 micrometers in dimension. Okay. To put that into perspective, let's scale that up to the size of the Empire State Building. Fast forward today, that same device is shrunk now to a foot and a quarter. The Empire State Building is now a foot and a quarter. But the amazing thing about that is it's the same Empire State Building, and it's got a few added features. So now the cool thing is we can stack them up, we can fill up the original space, we have increased computational power. It's one of the reasons we're all in this room together today. And one amazing phenomenon about that is now we can take a satellite that used to be the size of a bus and put it in the palm of your hand. So what we're doing at UT Chatsat is taking this technology and we're providing educational development kits for students. So this is the UT Chatsat Sensor Development Kit. It can be 3D printed by any off-the-shelf 3D printer, really. Our custom electronics board are compatible with the do-it-yourself ventures that are on the market currently today. You can expand upon it. Use our flight computer, which is compatible with a current satellite, state-of-the-art. And you can deploy them in a variety of applications, not amounting to just space systems. And most importantly, you can connect to them from any device that can connect to the web. You can control this remotely from your cell phone and receive instant feedback, providing a real big resource for students. Since Gig Tank 365, we've explored how to use this device out in the market, and we've partnered with a number of local education ventures. Our first complete device is going to be given to the Chattanooga Girls Leadership Academy in Chattanooga, and we're going to help them develop curriculum about space science and engineering using our devices. Baylor School is using the software platform that we developed as a part of this to be included on the robotics program, and we're going to do environmental sensing and do real-time monitoring of our water quality in our Tennessee watersheds. STEM School in Chattanooga is using our modules to help us develop a payload for our high-altitude balloon experiments that we run at UT Chattanooga. This is an image of one of our experiments. When our devices ascend in altitude, there's a region where it gets very cold. 10th graders at the STEM school are designing a payload to do thermal management of our high-altitude balloon using our platform. We're also partnering with other collaborators at the university, and we're deploying our devices through our buildings on campus to do real-time monitoring and control of our energy expenditure inside of our buildings so that we know exactly where the energy that we're using is going and how to reduce the overall footprint and cost of our operating of our facilities. Our team is 4 strong, but it's really been a big collaboration from a lot of people named on this screen here today. The unfortunate reality about having graduate students help me found this group is that when they get trained and they're highly qualified, they run off and do something great. Matt Joplin, for example, just left and went to SpaceX. He'll be there for the next 6 months learning a lot about designing rockets and satellites at SpaceX before he comes back and helps me finish this program. He will be back. Amy Patel, I want to give her a shout out. She's pretty much running the show around here. She's the one that makes all this happen. So big shout out to her. So UT ChatSat, fundamentally, we're trying to transform the way students learn by giving them a tangible, legitimate experience with space technology, such that they have an early onset experience with these advancements that they can literally touch with the palm of their hands. Thank you for your attention, and if you would welcome any further conversations with you, and check out our demo if you haven't already. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Daniel. All right, and at this time, I would like to welcome Felicia Jackson on stage. You guys, it's her birthday.
All right, y'all can sing happy birthday now. I'm waiting. All right, hello everyone. My name is Felicia Jackson, and I am the inventor and CEO of the CPR Life Wrap. I have developed a device that could give you the ability to save a life in the most efficient, safest way yet. The CPR Life Wrap is a CPR template that's disposable. It's made of a durable but pliable plastic. It has an attached mouth barrier with a one-way valve, embossed hand placements with simple CPR instructions etched on top of the wrap. It is AED compatible and comes in sizes of adult, child, and infant with a price point of $20 for infant and $25 for child and adult. In 2002, my 2-year-old son was a victim of a choking incident. Now, I am CPR certified and a medical professional, but in that moment, I could not remember the steps to perform CPR. Thankfully, my husband was there, dislodging the candy, saving our son. Now, according to the American Heart Association, 80% of Americans feel helpless during life or death situations, with 92% of people dying even before they reach the hospital. It is my hope that with the CPR Life Wrap, those numbers will decrease significantly. Our target market for the CPR Life Wrap are the non-medical community, people that don't know or know very little CPR. And in Tennessee alone, there are approximately 2.5 million households, 133 million nationally that represent our target market, with a sales growth of approximately 50 million in Tennessee and $2.6 billion nationally. Now, our marketing strategy to create awareness and promote the CPR Life Wrap for increased sales will be through earned media exposure via print publications, television, and radio. Now, our distribution channels are online, vendor events, and trade shows with future revenue streams in licensing agreements. Our objectives are to have consistent increases in sales annually by providing a dependable and viable product to the consumer. Our competition. Our competitors are pneumatic-driven devices and battery-operated devices such as the Zoll Pocket CPR, the CPR RSQ Assist, the Thumper, and the Lucas. Now, unlike my competitors, the CPR Life Wrap can be housed in a pouch, attached to any bag, displayed in any house, home, car, along the pool side, or even with the actual AED. We are looking for $100,000 for manufacturing, additional marketing, and additional sales reps to cover the influx of interested businesses. As of now, we are partnering up with 2 of the largest hospitals in Chattanooga. Thank God. My team consists of a very knowledgeable and qualified professionals that are committed to making the CPR Life Wrap life-saving and a profitable business. Now, September 30th, we officially launched the CPR Life Wrap with our Kickstarter page live right now. So I asked each and every one of you, if you see this as a benefit for your household or someone you know, please get online and order your Life Wrap today. Now I leave you with our very first video. Enjoy.
Ready to play. Good behave and have fun? Okay. See you later.
We'll see you, buddy.
All right, you ready to have fun? Let's do it. Hand, finger, thumb. Oh, yeah. Your snacks ready? Ben. Ben? Come on, Ben. Everything's gonna be okay, Ben. According to the American Heart Association, 80% of Americans feel helpless during life or death situations. Failure to act could result in unnecessary loss of life. But when you do react, you can double or even triple the chances of survival. Help me save lives, one wrap at a time, because a life is the most precious thing on earth. Thank you.
Amazing. All right, so next up, we're going to hear from Tiffany Malaplanes, and she's with Positivity. Let's give her a round of applause.
So I will say those are really amazing ideas that I have to follow up on. So I just make tea. So let's have some fun with some tea. So my name is Tiffany Malapanes. I make organic tea blends. I own the company Positivity. Let me see here. Basically, I started Positivity while I was in college. I've been studying herbal medicine for about a decade, more like 12 years or so, and I've been blending for myself for that amount of time. I learn about a new herb, I get the herb, I experiment with it, I see what it tastes like, and eventually I just became obsessed with this process. While I was in college, I used to make all my roommates a lot of different organic herbal tea blends that would be in accordance to what they needed. So if they came to me and they had a headache or they were sick, I would make them a blend, or I would force them to drink a blend of herbs that they may or may not wanted. Eventually, they encouraged me to start a business, so I started Positivity. I did not think it would go anywhere, and it did, which is really exciting. So once I realized I actually had a business, I looked at the market. I noticed that there were some major things that were missing in the tea industry. Some of those things are there is not high quality teas out there. There isn't organic, fair trade, good quality tasting herbal tea blends out there. And there's also a lack of information, a lack of education out there for the people that are actually interested in drinking these blends for their health. So I was like, perfect, that's exactly what I do. So I decided to start doing that. So I make custom herbal tea blends, like I had said, and I make them for different companies around Nashville and Chattanooga. But, hold on. One of the reasons why it's so important to have it be organic is because a lot of pesticides and herbicides go into the growth of a lot of these commercial tea and herb farms. And so when you get a tea and you're like, oh, this is totally going to help my memory, or this is going to help boost my immune system, and it's doused in pesticides and herbicides, none of those properties are actually going to help you. On top of that as well, a lot of the times the teas that you find in the grocery store are just sitting on the shelves for years. They're ground up into the finest powder as possible and put in these tiny bags, so the quality is not there. That's why loose leaf is so important as well, so that you can see that it is actually a good quality herb and you can actually get a full steep from that, a good beneficial steep from it. So organic's really important for the environment as well as you guys. Fair trade. So I don't know how many people know about fair trade or what fair trade is, but fair trade basically means that it is going to help the tea plantation worker as well as everybody involved in the process of making tea. So currently right now there is a huge problem with the fair trade, with the tea market when it comes to human rights. Human rights are not necessarily emphasized in the production of a lot of the tea making process, where basically the tea workers will live on the plantations and they have no rights at all. They are not heard. So they won't have protective gear if they are working with harmful chemicals. They won't have the correct housing that would be sustainable for any of us, let alone anybody across the world to live in and have a healthy, productive life. They don't have the educational opportunities for their children, just basic school, and just the list goes on. So I really think it's important to make the connection to actually help a global, like everybody in the world instead of just us, because there's really no point to benefiting ourselves if we're actually harming another person in the process. Also education. So as I'm sure most of you guys didn't know what fair trade was, that's part of the educational process. But on top of that, a lot of people don't understand that like elderberries will help kick out a cold or flu. And that's an easy way to avoid taking a medication. Or if you have a headache, feverfew and white willow will totally knock that headache out. Or peppermint oil will actually do the same thing. And that way you can avoid taking all these medications that are actually going to be more counteractive for your health in the long run. Currently, the reason why this is such a big deal or something that's worth taking the time to looking into is because the tea industry is actually the largest beverage industry after water, in the entire world. And it has been for a long time. Globally, there's 3 billion cups of tea per day that is served, and just in America alone there's 450 million cups of tea being served every single day, and I'm sure that's actually gone up since I got these stats. But with that being said, you can see if there is a connection in a global sense for like a social, humanitarian, environmental way, we really do have a big industry to work with here. So we could make a pretty big impact if we could work with a lot of different people. So a little bit more about positivity. So I have over 30 plus artisan tea blends, and I make them in accordance to the health properties that I want them to have. So Rosemary Revolution is really good for helping with concentration and focus. So if you have an issue with that, that's really helpful without any caffeine. Cinnamon Orange Tiger is a beautiful example. It helps boost your immune system, helps regulate your blood glucose levels. Really good, tasty blend as well, very energizing. So not only is it going to help you with all these properties, but it also tastes really good, which is also something that you don't find in the grocery store often. So I am in a couple places. So I'm at the Chattanooga Market, which is every single Sunday. So if you guys are like, oh my gosh, I love tea so much, you can easily find me there. I'm there every Sunday. And then if you're like, man, as much as I love Sundays, I'm never at the market, you can always order it online. Or I don't have their thing on here, but Nutrition World on Lee Highway also sells it in bulk. So you can go there and get an assortment of different blends there as well. These are just a couple partners that I have. I work with Huss Restaurant in Nashville, 8th and Rose, Thistle Stop, Thistle Farms. Cool thing about Thistle Farms and Thistle Stop is they're kind of going in the same direction, but more on a local scale. So they work with women that have been in the kind of like on the streets. They are recovering alcoholics or drug addicts, or they've been in the prostitution realm of the world. They give them housing for 2 years and everything that they need, and then they give them jobs. So one of the things that they do at their cafe is they actually employ these women, which is a wonderful thing. So I love working with them, and I always like to talk about them. Yeah, so I just wanted to come here because they said, hey, you want to come? So yeah, that's why I'm here. That's pretty much it. Hey, I had no idea you were leaving either. I'm so sad about that. But anyway, so I'm here just because I love this group so much, and I think this is a wonderful community and a wonderful networking opportunity for everybody, not just myself. I'm not looking for investors. I'm just looking for people that might want to partner. Mentors, I'm not business savvy at all. I just kind of love tea, and it's very easy for me to like make herbal tea blends, so this is just what I do. Mentors are wonderful. They are very helpful for me. And just any concepts that you have for expansion would be wonderful. But yeah, not really investors though. If you want to talk about that, I'm open ears, but usually I don't go for that because my concept is if it's not supposed to exist, it won't, but if it is, it will. So let it grow organically on its own. So that's it.
Love her. Give her another round of applause, you guys. All right, next up we have someone very special to our entrepreneurial community, and that's Graham Bredemeyer. He's been here for a little while, and he started Collider after moving to Chattanooga, so let's give him a round of applause.
All right, thanks guys. As Tia said, I'm Graham Bredemeyer, and I'm the founder of Collider, where we build a high-speed industrial 3D printer focused on printing production quality parts with our customers. Hold on. Okay, well, I'm gonna roll. Oh, there it goes, cool. All right, so 3D printing as it is today, right, it's a rather slow process. It's pretty expensive, both from the machine perspective. They're extremely expensive, average price points of around $100,000. And the materials are about 10x what they should cost. You can only work with a few different materials, and they're always manufactured by the manufacturer of the machine. And at the end of the day, they end up spitting out parts that are just not as good as what you need for production. But what 3D printing really has going for it that's excellent is you can produce any geometry that you can imagine or any geometry that you need to, which is really important for manufacturing. And changing geometry is both instantaneous and free. It's as easy as uploading a file from your computer. Second, on the other side of the spectrum, we have the traditional way of making parts, which is cutting a mold and injecting that mold with a secondary material that ends up being your part. And it's kind of the exact opposite. You can make extremely high quantities of parts at a pretty low cost in almost any material that you can imagine, and it's going to be extremely reliable. Low cost if you're making the right quantity of parts. but it's extremely slow and expensive to change geometry. The average tool today costs about $12,000 to change out, to cut a new mold, and those molds can only be in certain geometries. And so again, the complete opposite kind of complementary learning. So we developed a new technology that's a cross between both of those, and comes together in a machine that we call the Orchid. The Orchid has a relatively large build volume compared to most industrial 3D printers, so you can print a lot of parts at a time, and a 2-hour maximum print time is associated with that, and so each part can take only a few minutes if you kind of calculate it that way, which in most 3D printers you're talking about at least a 48-hour print time for a build area of that size. Speed increase in machine capabilities there. Work for me. Sorry about that, guys. All these things come together to make production-grade parts, like I said, but also highly functional prototypes for companies that need that, or rigid manufacturing tools to support their traditional manufacturing efforts. And all of this is kind of made possible because of the materials that which are known as two-component thermoset plastics. And so these materials come in tons of variations, which is the most interesting part. So everything from extremely soft silicones that are going to end up in like the insole of your shoe, to the extremely high wear strength, tear strength rubbers that are going to be on the bottom of your dress shoes, to parts that are going to be in your cars or cell phones or on planes. And that's important for 3D printing because there's about $45 billion worth of those parts made every year. And they're actually materials that you would actually make something in today. Whereas the rest of the 3D printing industry is focused on what are called UV curable thermoset plastics, so photopolymer, as they commonly call it. But the rest of the world, from a manufacturing perspective, only uses that stuff for one thing, glue. It's used as an adhesive or a coating. It's never used to make parts. So the rest of the industry is focused on making parts essentially out of glue, versus the materials that are actually being used to make parts, about $45 billion worth of parts every year, in fact. Not only are they kind of focused on this set of materials that are not really used commonly in the manufacturing world, but their business models are really restricting when you're trying to address a production market. And so they have these closed material marketplaces, which means there's a sole supplier for their materials, which if you're a large manufacturer, like making a lot of vehicles or planes, it's unacceptable for your supply chain to have that level of risk. So the very thing that keeps these companies together in the 3D printing industry today is actually some of the very things that are constraining it from addressing a larger production market. So we aim to be everything that's not. And so we work with Open Materials Marketplace. We develop a new type of technology to enable working in traditional manufacturing materials so they can have multiple suppliers, de-risk their supply chain. We have all-inclusive hardware editions where they're really nickel and dime on those things. And we focus on being a production technology versus being a prototyping technology, which is where the majority of that technology in energy in the industry is focused today. Over the last few months in particular, we've really been focused in on working with companies, and we've identified use cases within their supply chain for our technology. We've exchanged the part files to print those parts, and we've been currently in the process of printing parts to ensure that we can meet the quality control demands that these companies have. But where we're headed is Q1 of 2017, we'll be shipping out our first 10 machines. And so we're currently in the process of raising a seed round of financing of about $2.5 million. So we're currently in the process. We'd love to talk to anybody who's interested in talking about things on that side of the fence. But additionally, I have this fantastic team that I've had the chance to work with over the last year and really bring this technology to life. And we're looking for a whole lot more people just like us. In fact, over the next 12 months, we'd like to see about 5 or 6 more of us. So we'd love to double in size. So if you're in computer engineering, mechanical engineering, chemistry, or even just software development, we'd love to talk to you, about what your capabilities are and see if maybe there's a place for you with Collider. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Graham. All right, next up, we have Chris Cummings, and he's with Pass It Down. Let's give him a round of applause.
How many people in this room have someone in their life where they wish they could go back and hear and see them speak just one more time? My name is Chris Cummings, and I started Pass It Down to help families capture their stories after my mom, who had multiple sclerosis, was diagnosed with early onset dementia at the age of 48. The problem that I experienced, and that families all around the world experience, is that I wanted to be able to capture our family stories, my mom's stories. But I didn't have the funds to go hire a personal oral historian or biographer, which cost thousands of dollars. And I didn't have the expertise or knowledge to know how to be able to interview her to capture her stories. Our solution was to create Pass It Down, a digital storytelling platform that puts a personal biographer in everyone's pocket. Pass It Down uses the technology we carry around with us every single day, our phones, our tablets, and our computers, to make it easy to capture our family stories in multimedia. Pass It Down makes storytelling easy by providing users with access to hundreds of questions created by the world's best interviewers to guide you and your family through the entire process of telling your life story one question at a time. Intergenerationally designed our platform to be easy to use for people of all ages, because in the technology sector, almost everything it's created is generally created for a 20-something-year-old like me. Pass It Down, from our colors to our fonts to our icons, is designed to be easy to use for someone that's 20 the same way as if you're 80. We make storytelling fun and simple through our design that puts an entire focus on being as easy to use as possible. For launch, we've identified our early adopters as the genealogy market, because genealogy has been really, really good about helping you learn about your past in terms of family trees and archives, but it's done little to nothing to help families capture their stories today. And don't sleep on the genealogy industry. Genealogy by 2018 is projected to be worth $2.7 billion. In fact, there are 84 million people around the world who every year spend between $1,000 to $18,000 annually on genealogy. And genealogy is the second most searched topic online, period. It's the second most popular hobby in the United States, and it's the third most popular hobby in the entire world. When we look to the competitive landscape, we see a huge opportunity to be able to disrupt this industry in a number of ways. And we know that we have this potential because some of the world's largest genealogy companies have already reached out and told us and expressed interest. This is what your most beautiful moment, your family story, looks like on our top competitor site. This is what your story looks like on Pass It Down. Our stories, our memories, are the things that mean everything to us. And being able to display those stories in a beautiful manner and to make it as easy as possible to capture those stories is incredibly important. So, how do we make money? Pass It Down is a freemium product, and we're able to offer Pass It Down free to the consumer because Amazon has given Pass It Down $100,000 worth of storage credits. And Google has also made Pass It Down a substantial offer of credits, which allows us to focus on growing our user base, to which we can add premium features and upsell that base later down the road. But we know how long and expensive it is to be able to create a B2C product and to really be able to find product market fit. And that's why we have a B2B arm where we help organizations and brands all around the world to be able to better capture their stories and to create interactive stories with a focus on generating user-generated content. This year alone, we have over $1.5 million in proposals out. We expect to close $300,000 by the end of this year. And hopefully by 2020, we are a unicorn playing hockey. At least that's our hope. I tried to find a photo of one, I couldn't. We see several highly viable exits in the genealogy space because, again, genealogy has just focused on the past. Your family tree should be more than you finding a birthday of your grandfather and seeing a census record. Family history and family tree should come to life. You should be able to click a photo of your great-grandmother and see her talk about how she met your great-grandfather. You should be able to click a photo of your mom and be able to introduce your great-grandkids someday to that person. But that's not what history is right now. Right now, it's just cold facts. To make Pass It Down successful, we put together an amazing team because team is ultimately everything. Ted Finch, our Chief Marketing Officer, is the former VP at Motorola and SVP at GE, and has launched over 400 consumer products. We have an amazing development team with over 30 years of experience in building successful technology products. The company I last co-founded delivered over 50 million minutes of paid educational content to Fortune 500 companies. And our incredible advisor, who I will say thank you to now, thank you for everything, and we couldn't ask for more. For launch, Pass It Down is focused on 3 key channels for growth: influencer commitments, focus on genealogy events, and on partnerships and alliances. We've already identified and built relationships with 5 of the top 7 genealogy bloggers in the world because in the genealogy space, bloggers are rock stars. And from the very beginning, we received their feedback and took that feedback into how we developed our platform. And they have a combined readership of over 5.5 million people. And for November this year is when we'll be launching Pass It Down, because that is when families are together for the holiday season. But alliances and partnerships are another thing that really excites us. And I'm happy today to be able to announce that we have formed some really, really amazing partnerships before we've even launched. For example, we are the first and only company to partner with the International Storytelling Center in Jonesboro, Tennessee, the most prestigious storytelling organization in the entire world that puts on the National Storytelling Festival. And for the very first time, we'll be doing a joint storytelling campaign for the festival this Friday, where we're asking 75,000 people that go to the festival and those that stream online, all to answer one question and share, what is your story? Or what is your earliest memory? What is your first memory? And allow people to be able to see those stories side by side. That's never been done before. No one has ever brought people together through stories and broken it down to say, what does this entire community look like when asking and answering this? If you want to see, it just went live today at passitdown.com/festival. We've had a lot of success this year, thankfully, due to a lot of the help we've received. In February at Roots Tech, the world's largest genealogy conference, BYU, one of the leaders in family history, called us one of the 3 companies on the cutting edge of genealogy. In June, at the Aging 2.0 Global Startup Search in Austin, Texas, we were named the Audience Choice Award winner. We graduated from Gig Tank this August, and just last week, Pass It Down came very, very close to being named the most innovative company in the country out of 15,000 startups by Miller Lite, in which we won $22,000 in a contest judged by Damon John. We are just now starting to raise our seed round. If you're interested, we would love to talk to you, and no matter what, we would love to be able to help you and your family tell your stories. Thank you so much, and thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Chris. All right, so that wraps us up for the pitches tonight. Thanks again to all of you who showed up tonight. Our event is not over. This was just the first part of the evening. After this, we are going to move over to the 3rd floor Commons in Warehouse Row, and that's where we're going to host our Alumni Network launch party. So we hope all of you will join us there. We're giving away a free iPad mini. This is a chance for us to collect stories from you guys, but also to learn about how we can help you build your businesses moving forward. We've been in existence for 6 years now, and so we've had a number of companies go through our programs, and we're reaching a point where we actually do have an alumni network, and there are a lot of people who have gone through our programs who are still in business. And again, there are also people who have gone through our programs but aren't quite there yet. And so we want to find out what kinds of resources you guys need to move forward. And so this next event is an opportunity for us to collect feedback and also a chance for us to share with you a research project that we're undergoing with the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And all of that is, of course, thanks to Mike Bradshaw, the one and only. So we hope you'll join us to hear his departing remarks. And we'll also hear from Jack Studer, who's going to guide us through a strategic development process over the next 6 months. So, as you exit the building, before we leave, though, you guys, we do have some events coming up. Our next big event, and our last big event for 2016, is Will This Float? This is a business pitch competition where we ask people to put their ideas forward, and we let an audience decide whether or not they think the business idea is something that's going to float. So do you have a product or a service that people will buy? We let the people weigh in. So this year we decided not to have a theme. In the past we've done that, and it's been great for helping us connect people with like ideas to one another. But this year, we just kind of want to see what ideas are percolating around the community. So if you have an idea, visit our website and submit it. The event's going to take place on December 8th. And then we also have regularly occurring Talk Shop Tuesdays. That's where we bring in business experts to talk to you guys about different areas of running a successful business. So on October 18th, we have one coming up with John Morris of Clear Path Ventures. And then we have another one coming up with Whiteboard on November 15th. So we hope you guys will be able to make it out for that one. So over the next couple of minutes, we'll be wrapping up here. We ask you to join us again at Warehouse Row. It's the 3rd floor, and it's in the warehouse. It's in the Coyote Logistics lobby of that building. Again, this is just the first part of our evening. This is the first part of what we have planned for the rest of the night. So we look forward to seeing you guys there. If you have any questions, we will have people stationed along the way to help guide you in the right direction. And we'll see you guys over next door. Thanks.